All right, luckily the rain is gonna hold off till this afternoon, so we got a little hole in the weather here. I got beans up down here. You can see the rows all the way across the fields. That's nice. I've already fueled 150 up, take the oil, all that stuff, unhook the mulcher, hook the soil finisher back up. We're gonna go try to get that new 10 acres done and knocked out before it rains. So hopefully we can make it happen. Says I got till 1 o'clock-ish. It's 8:30 now. I should have been over here sooner, but it is what it is. So I still think we got plenty of time to do what I need to do. Alright, let's see what we can do. I think the guy was out here picking up sticks because I don't remember that pile being there. Or the one further back there. So now I gotta go get the bean wagon, drag it over here, get the 66 in the drill, and get after it. So should have enough time left. All right, I got the wagon staged up at the field. I'll only have to fill once over there, and I got enough in the drill to get started. And then after I fill, I'll plant for a little while, and then after I fill, I'll have Shelly come get the wagon and she can come pull it back in the barn so that it's under cover, because she should be enough room. Oh yeah, she can just pull the pickup in the straight into the barn, and I got enough to plant at least a couple acres, and then that'll give me enough room to fill and then finish. So this is probably gonna be another 5th gear special, but we'll make it happen. not gonna stop to do too much stick picking. I already did a bunch when I was running the finisher out here, and like some of it, like that's still attached to something, that's still attached to something. So I'm gonna probably tomorrow afternoon have to come back over here with a little chainsaw and an axe and take care of what I can't get pulled out by hand. But that's easy enough to come back and do later. Right now we just need to get seed in the ground. So I'm gonna get rolling. I'm gonna get this field done first. That'll give Dad enough to come here and start working and go from there. So taking the bean wagon home. This field's done. Dad's just about got it done rolling it. Now I'm gonna head out through the back big field, and then we'll get the two small ones. We're doing okay on time. I think we're gonna be all right. Rain possible at 1:45. My ass. About 12:33 is more like it. But we got the two big fields done anyhow. With what little I had left in this one, I wasn't gonna quit. So I guess when it dries up again, I have to bring the little field cultivator over here and bust them two other fields back open again and try again. Alright, everything's back in the barn again. It didn't hardly rain here yet. At least not as much as it was over there at the field, but doesn't matter anyhow, because it ain't where it's not where we were at, so. I guess you just got to figure that the Weather Channel's factor of error is about an hour, because so far every time we've been rained on so far this year has been trying to plant beans, and so far every time they've been off by an hour. So apparently that's just what you got to figure on, is you look at it and say it's going to rain at this time and figure you got an hour less than that and you'll probably be good. So I guess we can finish this video up when I can finish that field up. At least get all that field on one video. So with that being said, we'll catch you whenever we can get back over there. Just have to hit those two pieces with the field cultivator and drill them and roll them, and everything will be good. Hopefully we don't get a whole lot of rain. We can get it done in a timely fashion. All right, we're gonna finish this field up today. It's Monday the 3rd, June 3rd. I'm gonna tickle it open with the field cultivator just to break up the crust. We only ended up with they were calling for ½ an inch. We only got about 1/4, at least that's all I had at my house. Could probably just come in here and plant it, but I figured if I came over here and tried that, then I would regret it. But I don't need to be running a cultivator that deep. I just want to, literally all I want to do is tickle it open, bust the crust up, make it plant a little easier is all I'm trying to do here. So we can set these here gauge wheels down. Fresh work dirt, so it's going to penetrate pretty easy anyhow. field cultivating's done. We can get 66 in the drill. Once I get rolling, Dad's gonna come over and run the mulcher behind me and roll it back down. I really like the way that makes the beans come up, and the way it just, that's, if I wish, I want to find an actual like 20-foot purpose-built field roller just to keep the miles off the color mulcher, because it's a nice mulcher, and those things are, if you, I mean, bearings for them are kind of expensive, but if you got to start replacing rollers on them, oh boy, hang on tight. So anyhow, and the OT, she's got something going on. We get, I spent most of Sunday working on it. Pulled all the sheet metal off, pulled the rocker cover, everything off, retorqued all the head bolts to see if I could get anything to seal up. I thought I had made it better. I didn't think I cured it, but I thought I'd made it better, and it's something goofy's going on. I don't know if it's a head gasket. I noticed it because I had to move it this morning to get the excavator out, because my boss wanted to borrow it to do some tile work, and it was puking coolant a little bit after like 3 minutes of total run time. And I was just, it never even opened up the thermostat. I mean, but I did notice, I don't know how well you can see it on camera, if I can hold this thing. I mean, there's a little bit of play in the water pump, but it's not leaking out of the water pump. I can't believe that little bit of play would make it suck enough air to aerate the cooling system. It maybe. But the thermostat's acting goofy. I do have a new head gasket coming. Anyway, that's a story for another time. Basically, long story short, I got 14 acres of corn left. We're gonna limp it through the last 14 acres of corn and worry about it later, because projects keep stacking up. I gotta get, once everything's done, I gotta get the radiator out of the 4150 and get it worked on, because a couple of the solder joints on the fan shroud that holds the fan shroud to the body have cracked, and the fan shroud's loose, so I got to get that fixed. While I was working on it yesterday, I noticed, or I found, that this thing's got a crack, which it actually had a crack in it, and we thought we had fixed it, and it was fixed for a while, but apparently it decided to rear its head again. But that solder joint right there along the front that holds the filler neck onto the top tank is cracked, which also makes it hard to diagnose what's going on with it, because you can't pressurize the system, because if you pressurize the system, the only leak you're gonna find is that one. So anyway, let me get the drill hooked up, and we'll go finish that field and go from there. Racing rain, we got time to stop rocks today. little mound right here is actually all spoils from when they dug the ditch. We'll see how well it grows stuff. All right, it's 2 acres, 2¼ ish, maybe, whatever was left. I was probably like 30 minutes away from being done the other day when I got rained out. But anyhow, while I'm waiting on Dad to get here, because I want to make sure he finds that other driveway, I'm just going to kind of meander around this field and pick up what I can pick up that's not attached to the ground. So there's really not a whole lot. There's this spot right here where they took out like 2 or 3 trees. I wish they'd have just taken out that damn thing, but it is a walnut, so I guess it's got some value to it. But there's that, and then there's a couple bad spots like right off the end there, and then there's a spot here by this burn pile, but there's really not a whole lot. In all honesty, I figured it'd be worse. So, oh, and guess Dad right now. That sure sounds like a 1955. Oh yeah, that's him. Da, 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 da. I know the sound of that tractor from a mile away. It's not very often that I get to see my own equipment running when I'm not driving it, because I do everything by myself for the most part. So Dad helps when he can, but he's got a job too, so he can only do so much. So anyhow, I think he's gonna start. Oh, maybe he's gonna start here. It's probably just a little, no, maybe not. Oh, that's not bad at all. I mean, it was a little tacky, but that's nice and fluffy. And that's the nice thing about that mulcher. It really doesn't pack. It just kind of firms it up a little bit. Without making a hard pack, which is kind of the whole point. I'm curious to see. I don't have very high expectations for this field or that one, just because of their size and the fact that they're hemmed in by trees. But the soil color, I mean, I bet on paper this is some really good look. I bet it's some really good dirt on paper. It's probably just not very good dirt because it's all hemmed in by trees. But free dirt is free dirt, so you take what you can get. So that's what it looks like fresh. And then you'd think, you know, logic would say, hey, you pack it down like that, the first rain you get, it's gonna crust and hard pack. So then you come over here to this, which has been rained on and baked a little bit. And I mean, it's got a little bit of a crust on it, but you can just kind of take your finger and just kind of, you know, it's not terrible. Beans come right up through that. So, but I'm gonna walk around here and pick some stuff up and wait for him to get ready for that other field, so that I make sure that he finds the driveway, and then we'll run this thing home and put it away. .310s are so frustrating, but God, I love that sound. I just wish I could make the T hold up like that one, because we haven't had a single issue with the engine in that thing since we overhauled it. But it's got the good fiber head gasket in it because we overhauled that one before AGCO discontinued it. You can still buy the fiber head gasket for the naturally aspirated 310. That's 165622A, I think is a part number, if I remember right. You can still get that one. But they moved a couple things on the turbocharged heads. So the turbocharged head gasket is a 165623A. You can't get that one anymore. Well, the old big time operator's out working the field behind my house. God, I hate having him back here. The guy that runs that farm is the biggest reason that they started permitting pot farms in our town. He was one of the biggest pushers for it. Made a lot of people angry over it. A lot of people. But I digress. We're back. Everything's put away. So, yeah. I don't know about this thing, but we'll get her figured out. You'd think if it was blown into compression, which I have a hard time believing it's blown into compression, and if it is, it'd have to be a really, really, really small leak. But you'd think if it was blown into compression, it would start puking antifreeze out of the overflow like it does almost immediately, and it doesn't. And where they normally fail is back here. There's like 5 or 6 holes for oil return and coolant passages between the head and the block, and yada yada yada. And there's 2 passes, if I remember right. It's a push rod hole and a coolant hole that are really close to each other. They usually blow there, so you start getting crankcase ventilation into the cooling system, which obviously is not as high pressured as compression. But normally when that happens, obviously you've got a coolant passage blown into a direct path to the crankcase. You start getting coolant in the crankcase, and it's not making oil. Tomorrow, after I haven't had it running all day, tomorrow evening, I want to crack the drain plug and make sure that there's nothing in there, but the oil level hasn't gone up. I actually had to add a little smidgen to it because it must have used a wee bit in this planting, but I had to add like a quart to it. So it's not making oil. And I would think that if it was blown into compression, like I said, it would start pushing out the overflow almost immediately. And when it was sitting parked, you'd think it would be weeping antifreeze into the piston, and when you started it up, you would get, if there wasn't enough in there to hydrolock it, you'd think that it would get a spattering of coolant out of the exhaust when you first start it up as it clears the piston, and it doesn't do that. So I don't know. Like I say, we're gonna limp it through the last 14 acres of corn, which will hopefully get planted Friday, and then we can worry about it later. But I'm starting to stress out because I keep thinking about how everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket here rather quickly, because I got that's going to need fixed, the 4150, which that's not an immediate, that can be in a month or two. It doesn't have to be right now, but I still want to get it done. But I got to get chemical ordered this week, because immediately when we're done planting, which I'm hoping for Sunday, we got 1 chance of rain this week as of right now, and it's Wednesday evening. Hopefully it doesn't amount to much. If it doesn't amount to much, I can get corn planted Friday, hopefully, and then between Saturday and Sunday get my uncle's planted, and then we'll be done. That's what I'd like to happen. We'll see. But basically, as soon as we're done planting, I'm gonna have to jump on spraying, because I got some stuff, especially on the corn side, mostly in the stuff that was wheat last year, that needs to get hit like now. But I'd like to get all the spraying done, and then immediately when we're done spraying, it's going to be time to start side dressing, which I've still got to do a test run with water on the applicator bar. And that's going to be interesting, because that's all new setup for this year, so I'm sure there's going to be some teething troubles on that. I hope not, but that's usually the way it goes. And also immediately after we get done planting, I got hay that's going to need that needs made bad. And you got that chicken coop that needs done. Got to start working on a loft for the barn, because I'm gonna need a spot to put hay. It's just gonna be one damn thing after another for the next, and then probably by the time that's all said and done, we're gonna be cutting wheat, because it's hard to believe, but we're probably only about a month away from cutting wheat, which people are probably gonna be happy. I'm pretty sure I've got myself talked into, we're going to dig the 0525 out this year to cut wheat with, since I've only got 8 acres. Because all it should need, because basically it was ready to rock and roll when I parked it. There was a couple bearings and stuff that I changed right when I got done with the last time I used it. It should be pretty much ready to go. It just needs a new battery and an oil change. And the 525 should be ready to go. So I think she's going to come out this year to cut wheat. We'll see. That's kind of what I'm planning, but it's going to depend on how things go. But yeah, I'm basically working myself into a tizzy with, however, it's just, it's honestly been to the point where I haven't even been excited about taking videos this year. Like yesterday when I was working on the tee, you guys have no idea how nice it was to just be able to get out here and start working on it and not have to worry about carrying a camera or videoing what I'm doing, or having people bitch that I didn't video enough, or have people bitch that I videoed too much, or because you can't make anybody happy on the internet. It's just, it's all hitting me at once, and it's a lot to take, and I'm stressing. But we'll get through it. We always get through it. I'll probably just have to take up drinking or something to get through it. So. Or I might have to break out some cigars, because I do enjoy smoking a cigar every once in a while. It's rather calming, and it's probably been in at least 2 years since I smoked one. I might have to break a couple out. But anyhow, with that being said, kids, don't smoke and don't drink. It's too expensive of a hobby. That's why I pretty much quit drinking. I took a shot. The last drink I had was I took a celebratory shot when I got done with harvest last fall. But before that, I probably hadn't drank anything for a year and a half, and I haven't drank since. And it's probably been at least 2.5, 3 years since I puffed on a cigar, so it's nasty habits, but every once in a while it feels good to do something. But anyhow, with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.